Hi, it's Wasabi. Welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be on the new heavy tank line. We're going to look at the first tank in the line, which is the Tier 6 Pawlack. The line is called the Yo line, which is named after the manufacturer, which was a company called HL Yo, Y-O-H, and they produced these designs in the late 50s, I think. Anyway, first of all, we'll start off about how to actually start the line. So the line actually starts at the T1 Heavy, the Tier 5. So let's have a look at the tech tree here, or actually we'll look at the research thing here first of all, right? So from the T1 Heavy, you've got the Pawlack tank. Now, it's not quite the same as the other tanks in the line. It doesn't have the reserve track mechanism, but otherwise it's it's part of the line, but it's sort of a heavier tank. So even though it's a heavy tank, it's a bit more nimble, etc. But let's have a look at some of the characteristics that you'll need to take into account. So first of all, when you research it, you will have the 76mm gun, the standard turret, and the radio. Now the radios are interchangeable. You may already have that one from already researched from other US tanks, but none of the other components of the tracks, of course, will always be per the tank. The engines, there seem to be a new range of engines, and the guns are unique to this particular tank as well. So this 76mm gun, if we have a look at that, compatible vehicles, only the Pawlack. So you won't have researched that from any other 76mm, and even the 90mm is specific to the gun, the tank, so M41P, only compatible with the Pawlack. It's not even compatible with the next tank in the line, which is the M2Y. You'll notice its guns say M41Y, so they've obviously modified the guns specific to each tank. So that's sort of one of the considerations you're going to have. You're not going to carry a lot over from one tank to the other, and even the engines might be different from one tank to the other. So if we go back to the Pawlack, let's have a look at the options you've got. Of course, you've got the standard gun 76mm, then you've got another 76mm and the new turret, which gives you additional view range up to 360. And then we get the top gun, which is the 90mm. It's probably going to be the gun of choice. So you can see 240 average damage, 160 pen with the standard round, 205 with the premium round, 320 damage on the HE, but only 45 pen. So only going to be useful for light skin vehicles. 9-second loading time for the gun, and average DPM 1600 without any sort of additional bonuses. And dispersion relatively poor at 0.42, but most of your battles you're going to be pretty upfront. And the aiming time 2.4 seconds, sort of on the long time. All right, so we do want to know about the armor, so let's have a look at the tank itself. So one other point to note, the crew. So it's only got a 4-man crew, so that's pretty common, but the key thing here is the commander is also the radio operator, and this you'll have to, if you're going to move crew into this tank to start it off, probably the best choices are the T54E1 or the T57 Heavy. All have a similar 4-man crew with the commander with radio operator skills. So depending on how you're starting off, are you going to transfer crew in or are you going to build the crew up? That's your choice, but just take that into consideration. Now that does carry through the Yo line, so you'll be able to transfer the crews from the Pawlack to the M2Y to the next one, etc. It's similar layout in terms of crew for all of the tanks following from here. So some of the other key things to look at, so we've got 900 hit points as standard. Hull armor is 127 on the front, and it's nicely sloped, as you can see, and you've got a fairly small lower front panel, so you will be able to hide that on slopes. 102 on the front of the turret, which is mostly this gun mantlet here, and then once you pass the gun mantlet, you're getting onto quite sloped sides, which will give you sort of ricochets. And we've got 64mm on the sides of both the hull and the turret. Sort of one other thing to look at, the gun depression, 5 degrees, not really fantastic. So you're going to find yourself struggling a little bit to get in the hull down positions, particularly if you're aiming down from a hill. And 15 degrees of gun elevation is also not fantastic there. All right, so that's sort of a really quick introduction to the characteristics of the tank. As I said, it's going to come from the T1 Heavy, so you're going to see a lot of T1 Heavies in game while people are trying to research the 28.5K you're going to need for the Pawlack. And of course, the people have already done that or have just pre-EXP'd the tank itself. You're going to see Pawlacks in game as well. So we'll move now into some gameplay and we'll look at how it plays out. Okay, so we've got a battle here on the Overlord map, and we've got Puzzle, who is one of our moderating team. So, and he's platooned with another player in the Pawlack, but you can see that there's a few Pawlacks and also quite a few T1 Heavies. People are obviously grinding this line. Alright, so it is a heavy tank, but as I mentioned, it's more of a heavium. So let's have a look here. Speed across ground doesn't look too bad. He's getting about 40 k's across when he gets to his full speed. As I mentioned, it's only got 5 degrees of gun depression, so this is quite a bumpy map, so we'll see how much that affects his shooting. Then we'll also see, how useful the armour is. Now it is a tier 5, tier 6 game, and he is top tier, and he's actually using the premium round, so let's have a quick look again at the characteristics there. So 205mm of penetration, so he's just gone through the tier 5 heavy tank with T1 heavy. And let's see what the standard round is again, just to remind ourselves. So 160, yeah, so that's quite a jump, 160 to 205. In terms of extra penetration. But he's not running anything special. Can't really tell you what the crew skills are or any modules that he's got loaded, but certainly got no food running. So this will be a reasonable indicator of what standard performance is. Now Puzzle's not a bad player, he's got over 20,000 games and an average win rate of about 53% or just over. So he's no novice at the game. So just so you can see that shot against the KV-1, didn't hear any verbal indicator, so it might have just gone wide, but let's see if he gets a shot in. Yeah, he goes on the side of the turret, so no dramas there. They're still using his premium rounds. I guess they're trying to maximise his grind and get to the next level as quickly as possible. Does take a hit there, so but basically that's his sidearm, and the sidearmor itself is not very thick, and he's got that Pawlack in front of him and didn't penetrate there. So again, depending on where you're shooting at, you may not get a hit, but unfortunately that Pawlack goes down before he gets another shot at it. So he's playing on the Hong Kong server here, but ping looks fairly high. Alright, and he's got this Pawlack in front of him, and he's managing to go. Well, the tank is sort of driving sideways, so at some points he's only got the turret, and now he's got an easy 8 there, so a different sort of target, but he should be able to go through the front of this one. But Puzzle is angling pretty well, so he's certainly taking shots into his tracks. And also, as I mentioned, this one doesn't have the sort of the quick repair track option that the next tank in the line does, and the rest of them do. So yes, I don't count on that. In this tank, you've got to wait till you get to the tier 7. Alright, so he's already done nearly 2k of damage. He's used most of his premium rounds though, so it's perhaps not a fair indicator. He's certainly disposed of that Pawlack. And now he's got another one in front of him. You can see this is where his gun depression's hurting, so he's got a bit of an upslope here. And yes, he can go for the top of the turret, but just that slow down and stop means the other player managed to get a well-aimed shot in. Anyway, so he's going to push in on this Pawlack, and there's the Easy 8 also. He's going to wait till he gets to the side armour, puts in the shot there. His team obviously are rolling over the enemy team, so it's not going to be too many more examples of shooting, but you see he's already managed to get 2.3k. Now he's switching to standard rounds here, and what have we got left? We've got Wolverine, Panzer 4H, and Chappie. Okay, so shouldn't need the premium round for any of these. There's the Wolverine, he's going to get a shot, and again, gun depression, not being able to get his gun down on there because he was on a bit of an upslope. Snaps towards the Panzer 4H, but doesn't get there. Now he's sort of pushing in on the Panzer 4H. So he gets a shot in there and gets the ram kill. So it brings him up to 2.7k. And there's the Chaffee. Is the Chaffee going to last? Well, he doesn't have any hit points. No, he doesn't. So anyway, so that's the end of the game. Alright, so hopefully that gives you a bit of a view of the Pawlack and its gameplay style. Let's quick back to the game. Okay, let's have a look at puzzles results. Now we're looking at this in Replays Manager because what Replays is not accepting the new files yet. Anyway, let's have a look at that. He's got the high caliber award for the most damage and doing at least 20% of the hit pool, and the Ace Tanker Mastery Badge. He got 2 kills and 2.7k of damage and about 479 of assisted damage there, so just over 3k. But the team performance, 2 off 13 base experience. Okay, that's interesting. It's a little bit lower than you would expect for an Ace Tanker, but it's obviously a new tank and no one's really played it yet. But there's still a good result, and he's well in front of the rest of his team. His teammate came in second and did over 1.3k, and the two of them are really the only tanks that did over 1k. So on the enemy team, yeah, pretty low performance levels from the rest of the team. Now there's a few Pawlacks there as well. Now Puzzle was using the top gun, so obviously getting the best results. It's a higher tier gun than the tank is. But yeah, you've got to obviously be still getting into good positions and using your armor and hit points to get your best results. All right, so he fired 17 shots, 13 hits and 11 penetrations out of that. Did receive 11 hits and he blocked 575, which gives you an idea of the armor capability. That's about 2/3 of his own hit points. And where did he get his income from? So bonus for playing in a platoon, very valuable bit of income there. Personal reserves were running. That gave him some good income. He did fire a reasonable number of premium rounds, but he still made a profit of 40k. So maximum result in the tank on that battle, and got some good experience out of that as well. Anyway, great game there from Puzzle. He's a new member of our team, so I want to say thank you for the content. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please consider doing that. We'll have more great content to follow, and thanks for watching.